Hello everyone, my name is Sheel and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to see how to modify a volume of an EC2 instance, a root volume or a non-root volume. The steps are basically the same. Modifying the volume of an EC2 instance involves basically two steps. The first is the act of actually modifying the volume, and the second step is to modify the partition, to extend the partition on top of that volume if one exists, and if the partition does not exist, you can straight away go ahead and extend the file system on top of that volume. So with this, I have already listed down the sequence of steps on the right hand side. I'm going to put this in the description as well, so we can keep a track of the steps that we carry out as we proceed along in the video. So with this having been said, we can go ahead with the steps in the demo. So this is the machine that I want to extend the volume of. I'm going to take the ID of this EC2 instance. I'm going to the volumes console and I'm going to look for the volume that this EC2 instance is using. This is the one. I'm going to modify this volume. And I'm going to increase the size of this volume to say 15 GB and click on yes. Now this is the step that takes some time. So if you see here, the volume shows that it's 15 GB now, but it also shows that it's not in use at this moment. It is still optimizing it. So this is the step that is going to take some time. I'm going to go on pause and I'm going to come back once this is ready to use. Okay, so now the volume has been extended and we can see that it is in use as well. So now all that we are left with is to increase extend the partition if one exists on top of the volume, and then this is the optional step, which is increasing the size of the partition if it does exist, and if it does not exist, we can straight away go ahead to increase the size of the file system. So let's do that now. So the first step is to figure out what's the underlying file system that we are using on the EC2 instance. Step 1 from the right hand side, we see that we have already done. We are on step 2 now. So this is the command to figure out the file system that we are using on the EC2 instance. So the one that we are using is the XFS file system. There are other file systems like the ext file system, and the steps are pretty much the same, just a couple of commands that change here and there. So you can look up the AWS documentation page for the commands for the ext file system. Most of the steps are the steps are still the same. It's just that a couple of commands that change in between the file systems. So okay, so now that we know that our file system is the XFS file system, we need to next check if there's a partition on this volume. So for that, we run the lsblk command and we see that we do have a partition. And let me drag the screen. Okay, so we do see that there is a partition on top of this volume, and that partition is not aware of the fact that the volume has been extended to 15 GB. It still thinks that the volume is 8 GB. So we need to extend the partition to the size that the volume is of, and for that we need to execute this command, the growpart command, and the format is the sudo growpart followed by the name of the volume followed by the partition number. So in this case it is xvda 1, so there's a space between dev xvda and 1, mind you. So that's all it takes. It immediately takes effect, and we can go back to lsblk command and see that the changes have in fact taken effect. The next step, and that's the final step in our case, is to extend the file system. we need to first check what the present status of the file system looks like, and for that df-h is the command, and we see that the file system still believes that there is only 8 GB of space on the underlying partition and the volume. So we need to let the file system know as well that it has more than just the 8 GB. It is actually 15 GB now, so that when you try to insert files, when you try to use this file system to store data, it can give you the space accordingly. So you need to have this package installed to be able to run the command which helps you extend the file system, which is the xfsgrowfs command. For this to happen, you need to have access to the you need to have the xfsprogs package. In my EC2 instance, I already have one. This is an optional step. If you have this package with you, you do not need to carry out the step. If you do not, you need to. I have this package with me, so I am going to just copy this command, which is the xfsgrow file system command, and follow that with -d followed by the mount point. My mount point is the root because I'm doing this to the root file system. If you are doing this to a non-root file system, do specify the mount point accordingly. In my case, since it's the root file system, I am going to just specify /. And this takes effect immediately as well. I can check one more time, and now we see that the file system also knows that the underlying volume is 15 GB. So now you can store files worth more than just the 8 GB size. You can store up to 15 GB of data in this EC2 instance. That's all for this video. Please do let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. Keep watching out for more videos on this channel. Thank you so much. Bye.